Hello, everyone. Dr. Ames here. This time, I'd like to talk to you about direct investment as one of the forms of international business. In particular, use this example of maquiladoras. Now, maquiladoras are light assembly plants. They're in northern Mexico, and it's example of direct investment in the sense that American corporate investors are putting up the money to invest directly in Mexico, where the Mexican government is given special tax breaks to the operations and the managers and owners of some of these factories because there are different arrangement on who owns what, and so forth. And that the workers are at a different wage scale than they are here in the US. So it's a case of also where jobs are outsourced to do certain manufacturing things that aren't done here because of the cost of labor. Um, so direct investment, as you know, is really the spending of capital by one company in one country across the border and investing that money in another country. And you could do it by upgrading some infrastructure, building a building, buying some land, buying stock in a foreign company, or just investing money in that company. So anything that where you spend your capital is an example of direct investment. And that's why this Maquiladoras example is a really good one. Now, what this map shows us is, according to my really primitive Spanish, is here's the locations of maquiladora factories by the number of workers. And you can see here's our US-Mexican border. If we look at the color code, we can see that the red are more than 200,000 workers in one location, one factory, or maybe a complex of factories. And we only see that in one place, and that's in Juarez. Now, Juarez is right across the border from El Paso, and that is a growing, huge community. And so we're talking at least more than 200,000 workers there in some very large factories. And they could be making a variety of products, anything from various parts for automobiles like tubing and liners and so forth, to doing textile sort of jobs where they're making clothing or even shoes or anything like that. Now, if we look at for the orange discs, that's the next level of concentrations of workers, 100,000 or more, right here, Tijuana. And this is right across the border from San Diego. It is a absolutely huge city with millions of residents, growing all the time. There were predictions at one time that it would be the most populous city in Latin America, and it still very well could be. Um, it just depends on how things go with world events and so forth. But it shows you that these concentrations of workers are where people are living in big numbers, and so they're easily able to supply the labor needs of new factories and so forth. And we can see some others, the yellow ones here concentrated again close to the Texas border. This is where there are more than 50,000 workers in these factories, even more inland here into the interior of Mexico. And then you can see right down here at the capital in Mexico City, there's at least one maquiladora operation with more than 5,000 workers in a nearby city of Puebla. There are more than 20,000 workers in the factory complex there. And indeed, they are scattered throughout the populous regions of Mexico. So it's a great example of direct investment. Here's a look at the interior of one of these factories, and you can see hundreds of workers here. It's obviously a large place. And as far as I can tell from looking at the machinery, like right here, this looks to be a sewing machine. These look to be like containers of fabric or something like that. Um, Supervisor, workers, you can kind of see that it is a busy place, it's well organized, and so forth, and it employs a lot of people. Here's another picture of some of those same workers at a activist rally. And that's what's interesting about talking about an example of maquiladoras like this is you find that workers everywhere want the same sort of things. They want respect. They want an adequate wage for how hard they're working and so forth. They want to be appreciated and treated right and so forth. And so there is political activity down there amongst these workers and so forth who are more or less always agitating for better working conditions, and in particular, more money. Uh, but that depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how well the country's doing and so forth, and in the contracts that have been signed. Okay, folks, that's all I really wanted to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.